What's up, Chiefs Kingdom? You're on another episode of Chiefs Focus First and 10 Live. JP, Quentin, Caleb. It's game show night. What's up, guys?
I'm pretty good, man. You doing all right?
I'm happy. I'm good. I'm okay.
That's good, Quentin. You okay over there?
Yeah. I'm feeling a little spicy today. That's what I'm feeling.
Oh,
It's nice
spicy.
outside.
After last
guys.
show, I'm sure.
Yeah, so we're gonna have. It's gonna be a good show. We're gonna have some fun.
It's nice and warm. It's not too cold, and we're at the point of the year where it's looking pretty good.
Dude, this is the perfect weather in Vegas right now. Perfect weather right now, I gotta say. 77 degrees, no wind. What's up? My man Thiz.
Hey,
What's going on,
Thiz.
bro? Yeah, man. Nice weather. Got the draft coming. All the rumors are flying. All the craps are rolling. Now, somebody saying that we're going to trade up, ended up at 2 first, and all the other jazz that's going along. And then you got another guy that says we're not trading up at all in this draft. I know. I mean, we kind of know what they're going to do to a degree, but, well, what he's planning on doing, I should say. We'll just see if that happens or not. But it is game show night, and that's going to be fun. When we get enough people on here, it usually takes about 30 minutes for everybody to wake up and realize the show's on. And then we'll get them on here, and we'll pick 2 random people. Maybe we can get this to be the impartial judge. We'll just have to see if he can pop on and do that. And we're going to test your Chiefs knowledge. You're going to be in a Chiefs battle, a football battle. That's what it's going to be. Moving on, I think Quentin probably has a little bit to say right now because we had a debate on our show last night on Fantasy Sports Corporation about quarterbacks right now that are in the league. And, the Joe Burrow thing got brought up, and that started a whirlwind of poopy poop. So we're going to have to play, we need everybody that's going to join. Make sure you chime in on this because we need everybody's votes on this. So, Quentin, I'm going to let you take it away with your beard of knowledge, and let's see what we got.
We are calling an audible tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because on Thursdays coming up to the draft, we usually go over a draft class, but we are calling an audible for tonight because yesterday we got into a friendly discussion about the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, and I became the Bengals defender last night as I have Joe Burrow as the second best quarterback in the NFL. So I said today I was going to write down my top 10 list. I spent a good amount of time on this. There was definitely some ones that I was iffy about, but I went through. I've got the paper right here. Got the paper. So
I'm iffy about your number 2, but go ahead.
Mahomes is one, right? He's on an island by himself. We can just move on now.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
How far is the drop though? That's my question. We got Mahomes, and what type of size gap are we saying? Is it a nuclear submarine drop, or is it a Grand Canyon drop, or is it from the moon to the Earth drop?
They're circling the moon right now, so we'll see how.
Okay.
I think it's a significant enough drop to where it shouldn't be a discussion anymore.
Okay.
Well, you see Corey, you see Chiefs on the Rocks comment.
I
Burrow
see, yeah.
Solid backup QB.
Oh, Philip and Scott here. Thanks, guys.
What's up, Scott? What's up?
Go ahead,
so I've got Joe Burrow as the second best quarterback in the NFL.
Filth. All right, go ahead.
So we can start our discussion from there. I know JP pushed back on that last night. Caleb, where are you at with that? Who do you got it to?
Well, I wouldn't put Joe Burrow there.
Thank you.
My opinion.
Who do you got?
I will say this. You guys kind of blindsided me 5 minutes before the show. I would not put Joe Burrow there. I would need more time to think of this. This is why I'm saying Joe Burrow is not number 2. Yes, he's made it and helped his team to get in certain parts, but what we've seen is he has struggled immensely, and it's caused their team not to do well. And yeah, there have been times where he's done some good things and not. But I personally would have to put it's going to pain me to say this, Josh Allen, at least in the top 3, maybe at 2. The reason why I say he's more of that dual threat guy, yeah, they've had some troubles. Both of them have made to the AFC Championship game. Yes, you can say Joe Burrow went over because we saw with Mahomes, but I can make the argument there is that they had a comeback that was lucky and fluky. But regardless, it is rather no here, no there. They won. I have to say I would put him there at 2, but then thinking now that's probably not it. I don't know. I would need time to make my list, but I just don't see Burrow as 2. He's just inconsistent in my opinion, and he doesn't make the quote unquote decencies around him better like a Mahomes. He hasn't had been put in that situation. I mean, Mahomes has had to deal with a receiving corps that hasn't been the greatest, but we see Burrow's done with the DeMar Chases of the world, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and then I forgot their tight end, Hayden Hurst. So he's had some weapons, plus a great run game. There's been times where Mahomes has really had to make bread out of nothing.
Really. Oh, and don't forget their defense, by the way.
And their defense has been consistently an average defense. So that's how I feel personally. I do agree with Corey. I would have to put Hurts as number 2.
Okay.
That's what I would
do. Here would be my pushback on that, Caleb. I would say that, yeah, he has had elite weapons on the outside, but him elevating that team is him playing that well with a POS offensive line. That's where the elevation comes in, where he's taking a bad offensive line and he's elevating the quality of the team with his play.
And that's a fair point, but I feel like I can make the argument as well as if you look what Jalen Hurts took a team literally out of purgatory with Carson Wentz and their whole quarterback issue and elevated them. Yes, they didn't have good quarterback play. They did not have like the quarterback. In his first year, they struggled. Second year, they made it to the division round. In the third year, we see that he went to the Super Bowl. So I feel like we're just splitting hairs at this point. I just feel like overall, I like a dual threat quarterback can run and can pass and is smart. And that's why I see what Hurts. And you can maybe make the argument that Josh Allen can do that when he doesn't have his Tommy John injury. Hurts is the better quarterback.
I have Hurts at 3 for the record. So just
why do you have Hurts
move
at 3?
on? I just
got passed by then on this deal.
Well, hold on. Let me just say. Well, I heard your arguments last night, but let me.
Yeah, but nobody else did. There's 7 people on the show.
Okay, I'll do that, and then I'll throw it to you. The reason that I have Burrow over Hurts right now is that Burrow's been in the league longer, and I've seen him do it multiple seasons. I haven't seen Hurts do it multiple seasons. So that's one of my big things. Is just that even though, Hurts has only been a successful quarterback 1 year, and so I don't want
the other year he was successful.
I mean, they got blown out in the playoffs.
They made it, though, when they really shouldn't
with the extended playoffs.
They made it, though.
I mean, I'm not, it's to the point now where it's like the NBA, where it's like, yeah, everybody makes it. I don't know if I'm going to give a team a bunch of credit for making it in that final spot.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, JP, go ahead.
Okay, Caleb, what have we preached year in and year out when it comes to stats? And you give a defense, top 5 defense, you give an offense, number 1 offensive line, best quarterback in the league. What is predicated on those stats? What's the number 1 thing that's predicated on those stats that they base the stats off of? What is it? Strength of schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're looking at a quarterback that had the 27th easiest schedule in the league out of 32 teams, and the 29th easiest schedule out of 32 teams, and then you say, oh my God, he's the best. When he's playing weak defenses, he's got some of the best weapons in the league, and yet he still has the issues that you absolutely pinpointed has had him. There's no doubt that he's had him. He is not mobile, not nearly as mobile as other quarterbacks, I should say. And I think if it was me right now, I would put Hurts at number 2. That's my opinion. Hurts went from 0 to 100 in a year. 1 year is all it took him. And they didn't have the greatest strength of schedule, but he's a mobile quarterback. He's a mobile quarterback that can throw the football. And if it wasn't for that shoulder injury this year, we don't know what would have happened, even in the Super Bowl. But that shoulder injury, you could tell on that last throw that was 30 yards short that it was hurting him. That's my take on that one.
Yeah, here's what I would say. I think that Burrow is more maneuverable than he gets credit for. Sort of like Mahomes early in his career, where he didn't get as much credit as he deserves for running the ball. Like, obviously the difference is that Burrow doesn't make a ton of those. I'm going to run 60 yards behind the line of scrimmage and then throw the ball. He doesn't do that. But when it comes to scrambling and making those plays down the field, if he needs a 3rd and 6, right, and it's open, he'll get you 7 yards. So I'll say that.
Mm.
So he's not an immobile quarterback either. We're not talking like he's a brick back there just standing up. He's not a statue.
Mhm.
He'll get you yards. He just doesn't do some of the crazy stuff where he runs a whole bunch behind the line of scrimmage and then throws the ball. He can scramble and make positive plays with his legs.
Yeah,
And
but a lot
that's-
of quarterbacks can do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Yeah,
just
I mean the game's
quarterback
at that
era we're in.
point now. You're not having quarterbacks are like statues in the back of the field.
I want to say hi to Will. Will I am. How you doing? That's my new nickname for Will. Will I am.
You know that's the name of a singer, right?
Oh, I absolutely do. That's why I named him that. I actually like Will I am.
What you got next, Quentin?
Okay, so
Let's
then,
move
like I
on.
already said, I've got Hurts at 3. Who do
Okay.
you guys have at 3?
Probably gonna be different.
I'll have
for me, I
to,
don't know.
I would give Burrow a 3.
Okay.
Due to the argument I said earlier, I just think of more of a quarterback that's more athletic and can run and pass the ball to a high effective level and be consistent with it, rather than a quarterback that is not. The reason why I would not push Josh Allen there because Josh Allen has not made it to the big game. I would say he's a top 5 quarterback, but he's definitely not 2 or 3. But I would have to say it would be Joe Burrow.
As much as this pains me to say, I'm probably going to have to go. I would say Burrow, but I can't stand him. I would almost. It's almost kind of a toss up between Burrow and unpopular opinion. I think Trevor Lawrence.
You put
Trevor
Trevor
Lawrence.
that high?
I absolutely do. And here's the reason why. He had the absolute worst situation that he could have had with a head coach his first year in the league. His second year in the league, he comes out with a great head coach, and they teach him the fundamentals of the game, and he went on a stretch and won his division. He's got all the attributes to be a top 5 quarterback. I think he's probably, and I did look when he came in the league. I thought, oh boy, this dude thinks he's Fabio, but he's humble, he's smart, he makes good decisions, and he doesn't smoke cigars after a win.
I can't put Lawrence that high because sort of like the same thing with Hurts is that I can't put you that high when you've only done it once. And I know context matters in the sense that he had the worst head coach in NFL history. And now, of course he was going to be unsuccessful in that. Your point of him winning the division, he was in the AFC South where you had a team that hired an ESPN analyst to be their head coach. And the Houston Texans and the Titans that are falling apart. So they were sort of primed to win that division. But no disrespect to Lawrence. I mean, you don't make a comeback like that in the playoffs. I don't care
That's
that
fair.
it's against the Chargers. You don't make a playoff comeback like that if there isn't real talent there. I think Lawrence is going to be the next up-and-coming guy, and we saw that. So I do think that Lawrence is one of the better guys. He is on my list. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know if I'd put him that high at 3. Like I said, I have Hurts, but I do think that you're right. The talent level is there, and he's going to be one of the guys that's going to be watched, and maybe is that next guy that takes a significant leap next season.
That's a fair point. I see where you're coming from there.
Okay, so then at 4, I've got Josh Allen. I think that his ability to move around the pocket, he has both that combination of I'm going to run behind the sticks to try and or run behind the line of scrimmage to make some passes. Plus, if you need 6 yards on 3rd and 6, I can get you 7. I can, you could even argue that he runs the ball too much, especially early in the year. I know he hurt his elbow and that affected his quality of play, but Allen to me is still one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And I mean, you see the talent level there, and he's still putting up quality games with not a great offense around him. So I think Allen is 5 or 4 for me.
Okay, I agree with you there too. I mean, we see Allen's been able to lead his team consistently to at least the divisional round, so the playoffs has done fairly well. I mean, I would say he has helped bring that team out of dysfunction. And
Yeah,
due to
in a
their
fairly
drafting,
competitive division.
yeah, and yeah, they're in a competitive division, and he's been able to reach them to a level where they're consistent in the playoff conversation every single season, and even they're in the discussion are they going to make it to the AFC Championship game or not. We see Mahomes has been stepping his way, pushing him back down the hill, but that's what a lot of different things. I think Allen's good, and I think he can do a lot of different things, and I think what's going to happen relatively, he's eventually going to get to a point where he may make it over the hump. But I feel like the only way that's going to happen is if the Chiefs have a terrible down year and they're just like, this isn't it. So that's what I see there with Allen at 4.
My problem with Allen at 4 is what I've heard and what I've seen. Not that he's not a great player, because he is. I think he could be phenomenal if he would, one, get rid of his attitude, and two, have the trust factor back. But he's lost, his attitude's still there, and he's lost the trust of his team, and so is their head coach. So when you lose the trust of your team, and then your head coach loses the trust, and he doesn't look at the big picture of the game. He looks at the big pass, the bomb. Let me get it down the field. I don't care if it's intercepted. I mean, the guy led the league last year with 32. He was responsible for 32 interceptions, drop balls, fumbles by himself. He was the reason for that. He was the absolute reason for that. And he also threw the most red zone interceptions of anybody. So I have a really hard time putting him there. Man, I mean, that it's tough at 4 because there's so many different players, but I'm going to put Herbert at 4.
Yeah, I think your point about the red zone interceptions is big. I would also blame that on scheme and lack of players and lack of like guys on their team too. When you get into the red zone, it's so much the field is condensed, so it's way more difficult to move
so much more difficult.
And the windows to throw the ball get shorter, and when all you have on your team is Stephon Diggs, who who peaked out right when he first got there, and that's just due to age. So it's hard for me to knock him, to throw him down a whole bunch because of those interceptions. Obviously, it's a problem, and obviously the fumbles are an issue, right? You need to fix those. But part of that, I also think, if we're just being real with ourselves, is a scheme issue and a lack of talent at the wide receiver position in Buffalo.
You've got one of the best wide receivers in the league.
Man, are we going to have to make a wide receiver list too?
No, I'm just saying. He really does.
Let's do it. Well, I don't know. I think he has some good serviceable wide receivers, like a Gabe Davis is one. Some of these guys we've seen on that they have.
Who was that other wide receiver, Caleb, that he had that not Diggs, but there was another one that torched us a couple of times. God, what was his name?
Yeah, I thought, wasn't that Gabe Davis?
I think it was Gabe Davis, the one in the.
It might have been Gabe Davis. Yeah,
it
was
had,
Gabe
four
Davis.
Touchdown passes.
You're right.
Four receptions. That was Davis.
So
like
I mean, when you look at it, I mean, it'll work out. Hold on, what is this? Josh Allen, Phil Rivers, the jersey. Oh Lord,
it's a zinger. Yeah.
Okay, at 5. This is my first of the older quarterbacks. That's where I have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Are we good there?
I don't think he's a top 5 quarterback anymore.
Really?
Yes. He just hasn't shown anything for me. He's at a point in his career last few years where he needs legitimate help to be competitive. And the team hasn't done that for him, and that's why he's struggled a lot. I would have to put Lamar Jackson. I'm sorry, but I just believe that. Lamar Jackson's a top 5 QB. I just feel like overall Lamar has just not gotten the opportunity afforded him with a competent team that can surround him with weapons and help build up to his ability with good scheme and things like that. I feel like Lamar's a top 5 quarterback. I just feel like Aaron Rodgers is not top 5 anymore. There's past him. There's just too many greater quarterbacks at this point.
I would generally agree with you, but to me, availability is the best ability. And so because Lamar has gotten injured 2 years in a row, that did knock him down for me. So
I mean, I would say that Rodgers gotten injured a couple times. He's been out for the season. It's completely derailed the Packers' season, and because of that, they did not put upper weapons around him again. I feel like with Lamar, what it comes down to is that since he has no weapons, he has to do a lot of the stuff for the offense, and that's leading him to get hurt.
Yeah, I would just say that Rodgers hasn't missed significant game time in years. He hasn't missed a month plus of football in at least 4 years.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure. Okay. I'll look at that up.
Last year he didn't miss time, and then 2 years he won back-to-back MVPs. If you're missing significant time, you're not winning an MVP that year. So it's been at least 4 years since he's missed significant time. JP, okay, you got a problem with Rodgers at 5?
It's hard for me because Rodgers hasn't really. I mean, he's been a back-to-back MVP. I will say at top 5, I would give him top 5 because he really had absolutely nothing last year. They ripped him apart last year. They stripped him down to nothing as far as a team is concerned. This is probably going to be extremely unpopular, but I have to say Watson is a top 5 quarterback. In fact, I think he's probably, once he gets his groove back, I think you're probably going to see he's my top 3.
Yeah, I don't even have him in my top 10. So
I think people forget about how great he was with how little he had.
I know, but to me, you can't miss 2 years of football, come back and look like the way. To me, you got to earn that position back. You got to earn being one of the best at your position after missing 2 years and then looking bad. I mean, he was bad.
Oh yeah, the rust was there.
I mean, the rust was there. Look at this, Watson. Wow.
Yeah, so I can't put him anywhere near. I can't put him there because he was bad.
He was, but also look what he had around him. He was off 18 months. He didn't play football, but he's not injury prone. And that's something, he hasn't had any significant injuries. His time off wasn't from, well, we don't know what injuries he might have gotten doing what he did, but if he did, allegedly. But in the same aspect, it wasn't done on a football field. I just feel like he's a very accurate quarterback. He did a whole lot with very little, and especially with a horrible organization backing him. I don't know, man. He's just one of those guys that I feel like this year may just end up freaking a lot of people out.
And if he
said those are all the reasons he shouldn't. Look at this.
Well, JP, if he can do what he can do, then it's going to be great for the Browns.
Absolutely. Look, Thiz, I understand that, but in the same aspect, we have to look at it from a football perspective instead of a freak perspective, because honestly, he's a damn good quarterback. I mean, regardless of what he's done off the football field, he's very good at what he does.
To me, he hasn't been a good football player in 3 seasons.
Are you talking about the very last season they had?
I'm talking about the one that he played.
The very last one
he played last year, and the 2
one.
years he missed because of he didn't want to play with the Texans and the off-the-field issues. He hasn't been a good quarterback in at least 3 years. So I can't.
He's been in the league the exact same amount of time Mahomes has, right? Wasn't he drafted?
Yeah,
the
same
year,
draft
right?
class.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I'm just having a hard time. I just remember. I remember saying he was the number 2 quarterback behind Mahomes, and he was. His accuracy was there. His decision making was there. He just did everything right with very little. So that's why I'm not going to say he's top. He's the number 5 quarterback. I'm just saying he should be mentioned in top 10 right now, simply because he was very good. And yes, he's had his problems, but yeah. And by the way, look, this is a very good one. I'm going to give this something for this. His final playing season, led league in passing yards, and that's absolutely true. He did.
Is that the one they went like 4-12? Not this past one with the last one with the Texans.
No, wasn't that the year that we beat them, and for our first Super Bowl run.
No, I think it was.
It must be the last one because I remember the Texans playing against the Chiefs opening night during the
fact
COVID
that
season.
We can't remember what his last season was with the Texans should tell you that he doesn't belong in the top 10.
I remember the season he had no help.
Hold on. Here, this is what I got to say.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
Because that's excuses are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
Yeah.
I've heard that quote from somebody before in this room. Go ahead, Quinn. What's next?
Number 6 is where I have Trevor Lawrence. right? I do think Trevor Lawrence is right on the outside of being one of the best. I mean, I think the way he led his team in the playoff game, leadership is a huge thing for me at the quarterback position, right? And the fact that you were able to pull your team out from the deepest pit that, I mean, it's one of the biggest playoff comeback games. It was a game where you yourself caused the problems. You were just throwing interceptions left and right. And then you drug your team out of it. He did have a big turnaround. You can see the arm talent is there. The mobility's there. I think Trevor Lawrence is definitely on the up and up, and that's why I have him, where I have him. I do think that he is moving up the list.
I can see that. I agree. I think Trevor Lawrence is their leadership is the main quality. I agree with you there, Quentin. Leading to that, and even just the Chiefs, he did not give up till the very, very end. And I would say it really wasn't him; it was his teammates that kind of did him in with the fumble, and then we see the interception. What a play by Jalen Watson. So, I mean, regardless, I think he's a very great quarterback, and there's a lot of things he can do. And I can only imagine what's going to happen once he gets more consistency and more help. They've added guys like Calvin Ridley to the wide receiver room.
That might be the most underrated trade.
Oh, yeah.
We may look back at that trade as, middle of the season and be like, man, what a steal. Because
it's an excellent trade.
Yeah.
So I think.
And there's a guy that hasn't played for a year, too. So we could talk about a little bit of rust. Wide receiver rust. He's going to have some because he hasn't seen the field in over a year. So
at least he'll have an off season though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here, what's he saying? He says I was going to argue against Lawrence, but the second half of the season and that wild card game really brought me around on him. See, that's why I kind of put him above Burrow because I feel like he doesn't give up. He has all the attributes. He has football IQ. He's humble. And he just continues to move and move and move. He's not complacent, and I like that about him. He's not arrogant. So,
fun quarterback to watch. He's got a lot of talent, and there's probably going to be a ton of great Lawrence and Mahomes playoff games to come up.
This said I can't put him above Burrow.
I'm with him.
Look, man, I'm sorry, but I hate Burrow. So I would.
I'm trying not to put my personal feelings about an individual over my football analysis.
And normally I don't, but him I hate. So I do not like him. I know hate's a strong word, but
at 7, I've got Justin Herbert. No?
Crazy. Nope.
I'm crazy for putting Herbert as the 7th best quarterback in the NFL.
Herbert right now. Let me tell you something. If you give Herbert, you agree with him?
Yes.
Hell no.
Herbert has no help.
That's my point. Give Herbert a team. Give Herbert a front office.
Look what he has been able to do with basically nothing.
Absolutely.
That defense failed him, and the offense by just failed him.
He's absolutely a top 5 quarterback. Absolutely a top 5 quarterback. Hands down, in my opinion. He has nothing. He's got 4 fans, a shitty organization, and a terrible head coach that doesn't care about his players. If he was on a good football team, I guarantee you everybody would be everybody be saying how great Herbert is. It's not Herbert's problem. I can't put him there. I can't do it. I just can't. I can't do it. Go ahead. You go ahead. Give me your reasons why, Quentin.
Well, I think once again the eyeball test. I think the arm talent is there. I do think that the leadership qualities are there, right? We've seen him during that game in Kansas City, right? I mean, the dude went out there, even though you can argue, and I'll argue that he probably shouldn't have went back out there to throw that final touchdown. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't go back out there if you don't have the leadership and the I need to do this kind of mentality. So that proved to me that he's here to stay, right? That told me a lot about him as a personality and as a football player. He doesn't have he doesn't have the same mobility as some of these other quarterbacks on here. But once again, he has that ability to scramble for 7 yards when you need 6 on a 3rd and 6. He's
kind of like Joe Burrow then.
Yeah, he's a quality. I mean, most fans in the NFL would be so happy to have a Justin Herbert on their roster.
Oh yeah,
a majority of the NFL, he's an upgrade at the quarterback position.
Imagine him with the Dolphins.
Yeah, I think
I
that
mean, they would.
That's a Super Bowl team.
Yeah,
it Justin Herbert is cursed for being on the Chargers.
Absolutely.
Do you think he's going to sign the extension?
Yes, because they're going to sign him a year. They're going to sign him a year before it's up, and they're going to sign him to a fat signing bonus. And if you don't sign the contract, the franchise tag locks you in for an extra 2 years. The
Unless
Kirk Cousin route,
unless they do it, if it's an exclusive franchise tag, it has to be exclusive.
the Kirk Cousins route doesn't work for
Everybody.
these top quarterbacks. The Kirk Cousin routes only work if you're a mediocre to an above average quarterback, because otherwise you're going to lose money.
Okay,
and you're going to and you're going to lose out on a ton of guaranteed money with a fat signing bonus.
It's true.
That's a good
All
point.
right, let's look at this. This is why Burrow isn't 2 in my book. Out of Mahomes, Lawrence, Allen, Lamar, Burrow, and Herbert, Burrow is the only one that can't diagnose pressure and blitzes. He's right about that, because when we changed it up this year, we moved guys around. We moved Chris Jones to the outside, then we bring him to the inside. You know, we opened up that gap in the middle. If somebody was coming around, like a Snead, he didn't know Snead was coming. He didn't know the corner blitz was coming. He had no clue.
I would push back on that. I would say, here's my two things. One, I would say that Steve Spagnuolo was known to running one of the craziest blitz packages in all the NFL. Right? We praised the entire season. We praised him for moving guys around and running crazy blitz schemes because that's part of his identity. He did that when he was with the Giants. That's just what he does. The other thing is that L'Jarius Sneed confused Tom Brady and during the Buccaneers game when L'Jarius Sneed was playing with his gloves before he sacked Tom Brady. So I'm just saying that that's also a personnel thing. That's not just a Joe Burrow issue. And then that offensive line is bad. So no matter where you're sending the blitzer, they're going to run them back like turnstiles.
Okay, so
it's like you're going to Worlds of Fun. I mean, it just keep turning.
Okay, but let me ask you this. So the 3 games prior that everybody else was putting Burrow on his back 5-6 times a game, and we would get 1 sack because we didn't change up things. We didn't move things around. We didn't move Chris Jones around. It was basically the same player, same position every time. This is the year that Joe Collins stepped in, and he started moving players around, stepping them from side to side, opening up a gap in the middle, and then bringing the corner blitz because you got Chris Jones coming up the middle or Chris Jones coming off the edge. You got Frank coming off the other edge, or Karlaftis for that matter. And then all of a sudden you got Snead that pops out of nowhere, or you got a Nick Bolton, or you've got a Willie Gay. It's his blind side that he doesn't have. He can't see. He doesn't feel it like other quarterbacks feel it, and he doesn't move out of the way. That's his biggest problem. That's why he's the highest sack quarterback in football. It's not just because of the O-line. It's because he doesn't feel the pressure, and you have to feel the pressure if you're going to play in that position at a high level. That's why Mahomes is very rarely sacked, because he feels it coming. That's why you see a lot of other quarterbacks have had terrible offensive lines that didn't have 70 sacks in a season, because they feel the pressure. He doesn't feel it as much. I just don't feel like he does.
He's also,
but that's just my opinion.
Mahomes is just way more elusive, and like we talked about earlier, Burrow doesn't do a lot of the in the backfield stuff, and he gets rid of the ball real quick too. So I just think that
that's even a more detriment.
A lot of it is just that offensive line is so trash that doesn't help him. I put him behind a quality offensive line, and then we'll see what happens. Even just an average offensive line.
I mean, it's like kind of with Mahomes. If you give him an average defense, what can happen? And we saw they go to the Super Bowl and win. I think Burrow just needs some help.
It's still a team sport.
Yeah, exactly. It's not all Burrow. It's the offensive linemen and wide receivers. If Jamar Chase drops a pass on 4th down, it's over for everyone. So it's a lot of different rotating parts.
That's absolutely true. But I still think he needs to – I mean, Mahomes was pressured more than anybody in the league.
But Mahomes is more an athletic quarterback and see
I
stuff.
understand.
He's more of an improv type quarterback that can just do stuff out of nowhere. Plus, Burrow is kind of more of a traditional, can move around, but a traditional quarterback that just kind of stands there.
Well, that's kind of part of my argument a little bit. I mean, the fact that, and one thing Quentin just brought up didn't really help his argument much because, again, if you don't feel the pressure and you're a guy that releases the ball second fastest in the league next to Brady, and you're still sacked 70 times, come on, man. I mean, Brady didn't get sacked that many times. I mean,
and Corey said a great point. He would throw the ball out so quick, defense never got to him.
Who, Brady?
Yeah, Brady would always throw the ball, one of the quickest quarterbacks.
Okay, well, there was only, if you look at it, the time frames, that's what my point. If you look at the difference, I think Brady's average is like, I don't know, 2 seconds, 2.25 seconds, something like 2.5. And Burr, it was 2.25 seconds, and Burr was 2.5 seconds. So that quarter second got him sacked 70 times. I'm just having a hard time believing it. And that's just my opinion. I think it's just his awareness. I don't think he has the awareness, because if you can release the ball that quickly, you should not have a 68 sack or a 70 sack season. You just shouldn't. Yeah, I'd understand 30, because you got a shitty offensive line, 35, but not 70.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely, and it's why he's not the best quarterback in the NFL, right? But I would just say that, that's not just on him. I like I said yesterday, I said sacks is usually a quarterback stat, right? And we've ripped on, personally, I've ripped on a guy like Russell Wilson for, his sack numbers, right? He would drop back and he would run around, try and make something happen to throw the ball on the outside, but he couldn't make something happen and he would take a sack. And I would just say that the difference is that the offensive line in Cincinnati has been so bad that I still want to blame some of it and quite a bit of it on the offensive line.
I agree with you there. I agree with you.
They spent $60 million on one player. They spent a total of, I think it was 86 or 90, maybe it was $90 million to rebuild that offensive line for him to get 3 less sacks.
Yeah, and they couldn't do it. So it shows that how difficult it is to rebuild the position and how lucky we are to have our front office in Kansas City.
Absolutely. Now that all
next. What you got next, Quentin?
Okay, number 8 is where I have Lamar. I like Lamar Jackson. I think he's a fun quarterback to watch. His throwing ability to throw the ball, I think, is underrated. He's dramatically improved that since the time he's been in the NFL. Obviously, everybody knows how well he runs with the ball and how electric and explosive he can be. I believe that if he was playing in that playoff game, they would have beat Cincinnati, and there wouldn't have been an AFC Championship game rematch between Cincinnati and the Chiefs. So I've got Lamar at 8. Part of the reason why I don't have him higher is simply because of the injuries over the last 2 years. The best ability is availability, and it sucks for Baltimore, for the NFL, the viewers, the fans, that Lamar hasn't been playing December football for the last 2 years. So I believe he's a top 10 quarterback, and if he stays healthy and continues to play at that level, there's a good chance that he rises on my list.
I agree. I think he's number 8 just for those exact same reasons. But we also have to look at one thing. He had one real weapon as far as the passing ability after they got rid of Hollywood Brown, and that was Mark Andrews. So again, a lot of wide receivers don't want to play with Lamar, especially over the last few seasons. Well, really all of his career, because they know that they're really not going to get the ball. He's going to figure out a way of running with it if he doesn't feel comfortable passing the ball. I have seen him thread the needle a couple of times, but I've also seen him throw 15 yards to the right of a guy that's wide open and get intercepted. So it's hard. It's hard with him.
I feel like he's improved as a passer with less over the years. Actually, and that's one of his biggest knocks. I'm like, well, he's improved. So that's how I feel.
Yeah. And Philip's got a good point. Having Mark Ingram helped. It did help. There's no doubt.
Just having healthy running backs helped, because I don't know if you guys remember 2 years ago now, that before they started the season, they had like 3 running backs on IR. I mean, that running back room got destroyed. So when you're a running team and you don't have your running backs, that kills you too. So they're not just a straight up passing team. They do run the football a ton. So there is that. They don't necessarily need top tier weapons on the outside when you are more of a running football team and you manage the clock and things like that, and you play with your defense, right? They're just built differently too. So I don't know if it's fair to always talk about how how they fail to get all of these weapons like other teams when their team is just built differently to begin with.
Also, I think given the fact that Lamar has gotten the shaft, to be honest with you, by Harbaugh and that front office, Harbaugh, I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of his. And when Caleb and I had a conversation last year because I got a call and actually they said they were going to have a 3:30 Wednesday meeting after a big loss of theirs. And then I called and they said, yeah, I think they're firing him. And I went, holy crap. And they're going to fire him in the middle of the season. And somehow he talked his way out of it and they were going to fire him. I'm just not a big fan of his because he's very, very opinionated. And he doesn't look at the offensive side of the ball as much as he's just a defensive-minded coach that is he's not open-minded. And I don't like him for that. His brother's way more open-minded than he is. And I think his brother
college, it makes sense.
Yeah. And I think his brother would actually be a better NFL coach than he is. I really do.
I don't know. He's a hothead.
He is a hothead, but he's got more of an open mind, and he can see both sides of the field. That's the difference between the two. Jim just doesn't see the offensive side of the ball.
I'm wondering if the Harbaugh issue is going to be like an Andy Reid issue, where you've been with one team for so long that your mindset is sort of just getting dull there, right? And if they go out and they have a bad season or two, if he sort of gets run out of town, sort of like what happened.
I think he's done this year.
Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, you're still like plenty of NFL franchises would love to have Harbaugh come and coach his team. He's a quality coach. You don't have that long-term sustained success with Joe Flacco and Lamar Jackson and everybody else without being a quality head coach. That just doesn't. You do not luck yourself into that.
Well, no, but you also have to have quality assistants too, and one of those assistants, actually, both of his assistants are gone. So his offensive coordinator at that time, during that time, is gone. The defensive coordinator they had is gone. They've lost some of their position coaches. So I don't know, man. I feel like this is the year. There's 2 or 3 coaches that are on the hot seat. I think his is on fire. And I think, what's his face from the Chargers? What's his name? Staley. I think Staley is actually on fire in a dumpster rolling down the middle of a one-way street. That's what I feel like he's at right now. He's got one season to save his ass. And I think Harbaugh does too. And look, don't put it past the Ravens to fire his ass in the middle of the season. They will absolutely do it.
Yeah, I could see that, especially if, they don't have Lamar and they're I don't even remember their backup quarterback's name, but if they start off bad in that division with that fan base that organization that is a stable organization, I could see that becoming an issue pretty quickly. It'll be interesting to see their schedule when the schedule comes out and they have their 3 of their first 5 games are tough games and they just play bad. That would be interesting. I want to respond to
I want to put up Corey's stuff here really quick.
I agree. I don't want it to make it sound like that Joe Burrow is not at fault at all for his sacks. He obviously is, right? Because sacks are also a quarterback stat. I'm not saying that it's just his offensive line, but I just think, Tyler Huntley's the backup. I just think that we have to recognize the fact that our offensive line is absolute trash bags. And even though they quote unquote rebuilt it, they brought in guys that failed. So
but
he does have a problem with recognizing blitzes and that he has had a problem getting sacked, but it's also an offensive line issue.
Okay, but here's this. Okay, that's fine, but here's an exact reason why I go against that. This is the same historic offensive line that Clyde came from. Same exact one. 61 times in 2 seasons. He was sacked. 61 times. That's a lot of sacks in college with that historic offensive line. You can't deny that. I mean, you'd be insane to deny that. I just can't. I can't put it all on the offensive line because he's had this problem in college, and they didn't have an issue with their offensive line there. I mean, freaking Clyde was like a god.
Well, that team was on another level.
That's my point. I mean, and he wasn't. I mean, he was still sacked more than any other college quarterback in those 2 seasons.
Mm.
And that's pretty sad to say when you got an offensive line that is just otherworldly and he gets 30 sacks a season. That's a lot of that's on him.
I would still prefer Joe Burrow over Josh Allen, Trevor Lawrence, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert. Like, we go through the list again, I would still take Burrow over all these guys.
Mm.
I think Josh Allen, I'm not going to say he's a better quarterback because he's got an attitude and he's one-minded, but I think he's more mobile and he's such a big quarterback. Even with that shitty offensive line that they have, I don't think he would have been sacked nearly as many times. I just don't. That's just my opinion. Herbert, I don't know, man. The kid's smart. He doesn't get sacked a whole lot. I think he's another one that if you give him a good offensive weapons, if you give him great offensive weapons or even good offensive weapons that aren't on the bench all the time or injured, you're going to get production out of them. They went with 2 30-year-old wide receivers that were great at one time, but they were both, they have been riddled with injuries for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Williams is like the guy. He should be on crutches. I mean, he's like made of glass.
He's hurt a
anymore.
lot.
Yeah,
And Keenan Allen.
And Keenan Allen is another
Usually
one.
what happens is one's healthy and one's injured, and they sort of rotate, and this year they just got burnt at the same time.
Man.
Exactly.
I mean, and look what the situation they're kind of stuck with. I mean, I don't know where they're going to go with either one of them, but did Mike Williams get cut?
They
restructured
restructured both of their contracts, so they're both still on the team.
Mm-hmm.
See, that tells you how bad their organization is. Because honestly, I wouldn't have even considered restructuring either one of their contracts. If I was going to do it, I would actually have to go with Mike Williams, just because of what he's been able to do to us, and the fact that I think he's a stronger wide receiver than Keenan Allen.
Mm-hmm.
I do think he's a better wide receiver, stronger, physically stronger. I think he's got better hands, but. That's insane that they restructured both of those guys.
Yeah, that was early. That was early in the offseason. That was one.
I didn't hear it. I honestly,
it was like damn near a month ago at this point. I mean, it happened a while ago.
Again, they got 4 fans, so I really don't pay a lot of attention.
Yeah. My next quarterback on my list at number 9, I have Dak Prescott. This is where, when I was looking at it, I was like, "There's no more like." There was no like elite talent like, oh yeah, this is a guy that's one of the best in the NFL. Dak Prescott he's a fine quarterback. I think he gets a lot of hate because the fact that he's in Dallas and he's not like Dallas doesn't have one of the top guys. So I think he gets a lot of hate in the media and by fans just because he's not epic,
Mm-hmm.
He's a good quarterback.
He's an above-average quarterback.
Yeah, and then he missed some time with that ankle injury. He's had quite a few injuries. And then when their backup came in and played, he went almost undefeated, so that didn't help him.
With the same team, by the way.
Yeah, and then he had his best year when they had the best offensive line. Zeke Elliott was playing at his top tier, and he fell off after they got rid of, or after some of his weapons and offensive line aged out. So I just think that there's been a little bit of everything that sort of had our view as fans, outsiders. This, has really hurt his image, I guess. And so I think that he's definitely one of the top guys. Like I said, there are plenty of organizations that would be happy to have a Dak Prescott as their starting quarterback.
Absolutely.
Oh, for sure.
Let me do this really quick. There you go, Corey. You deserved him.
Corey, where would you put Joe Burrow?
That's a
Yeah,
great
where
question.
would you
About
put
Dak
Joe Burrow,
Prescott.
Corey? Where would you put him at right now? I know where I'd put him, but I want to know where you'd put him.
Dak Prescott, go.
What?
Come on,
Go.
Corey. you
Talk
can do
about
it.
Dak Prescott.
Oh,
I think he's good. I mean, top 10, yeah. I would not be surprised if the Cowboys move on from him. It just, to me, at this point, I see they feel like they're seeing enough. I think he's top 10. He kind of reminds me of Alex Smith a little bit. He'll get you to the where you need to be, but he can't get you over the hump. And the Cowboys really cannot get over the hump of the NFL divisional round game. And he's gotten them there several times. Rather than
absolutely.
see other quarterbacks have gotten them over the hump, but he can't get past that one hurdle. And they literally have one of the best offenses around with all these guys they have. And I don't know. That's their main problem right there. They're just not. He's not able to help them get over the hump no matter what.
I agree, and I think he's had some great weapons. I mean, when you got a CeeDee Lamb, and then you also have two other great wide receivers and three running backs that are really starters in this league, and you can't get them over the hump, and you got a great offensive line, you got a really good defense. I mean, you got Micah Parsons, you got all these guys that are absolute animals, and you can't. I don't know, man. I would agree with him at being number 9, absolutely, because there's not that many. I mean, if you out of the 32 quarterbacks in the league, you got to put somebody at 9
Yeah,
and 10.
somebody's got to be ninth,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why that was my whole argument during the offseason where people are like, talking about Derek Carr and Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm like, somebody has to be an average quarterback.
Exactly. Mhm. That's a fair point.
Yeah.
What did Corey say? He said, he said next year will be Mahomes, T-Law, Hurts, Allen, and Burrow. Then he says, Dallas had a better record with the backup over Dak. With Dak as Dak hurt. So that's a great point. And I would not be surprised if the Cowboys do take a quarterback anywhere in the draft. I think
I would
they're
agree.
gonna-
Just because of that
The contract they got with Dak is going to be hard to get out of.
I know they got it out with Zeke. I feel like they could do
It
something
took
with
him
Dak.
5 years, but they got out of it.
I know. I don't know, but it's Jerry
Yeah.
Jones. It's Jerry Jones.
Yeah.
He'll figure out a way. If
He's
he
got
has
money
pay
to burn.
$30 million check under the table. We'll figure it out. So.
We know what he does. I mean, I'll never forget that, man. I was around.
You can't do
following,
that
you know,
now,
like,
but you never
reporting on
know.
that,
There's
but-
probably things promised to players. I mean, we see in the NFL there's investigations of players getting things outside the contract. It would not be surprising to get to the point where that start happens to the NFL. Quentin, what
Yeah,
you got at number 10?
KU
What?
fans know what that's like.
Yes, KU
watching them.
So do
fans
Nebraska
definitely
fans,
know.
for that matter.
Nebraska
Nebraska
back
fans
in
really
the
know
day.
about what that's like.
But KU
football fans are the
basketball.
Dallas Cowboys of college football.
The KU basketball fans know exactly where we are coming from. All that money.
Yeah, I believe there was an
FBI.
FBI phone call that happened, and that
Mm.
I agree. Anyways, I
Allegedly.
allegedly number 10. This I might get some hate for this. I wanted to put Tua on the top 10 list, but I couldn't.
I agree.
His concussions,
I agree.
I couldn't put him on the list. I probably would have put him at 9 or 10. I have a little slash mark here because I was just like, where am I going to put Tua? The concussion things worries me. It really does. I just don't know if he's going to. I don't know if he's going to be able to play a full season. I'm worried about his concussion. We can talk about the new helmet that quarterbacks are going to wear, which I called, by the way. So I didn't put Tua on the list. I probably would have put him in front of Dak. So instead I put Geno Smith at number 10. Look at the way he played. I do think that, at the beginning of the first month of the season, we were talking about Geno Smith becoming like an MVP candidate, right? I mean, Geno Smith was playing amazing early in the
He was
season.
playing lights out ball.
He leveled out.
Mm-hmm.
He leveled out, but Geno Smith was playing great. So I think I'm going to put Geno Smith at 10. But I did seriously consider putting Tua at 8, 9, or 10 for the record.
Look at this, but you wanted to. And he said Tua is in the top 10.
That's why I didn't. I was really, because at this point it's like after 10, right? You've got Derek Carr, you've got
Derek Carr's a better
Kirk
quarterback than Tua.
Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Kyler Murray, right? These are the guys that you start. Ryan Tannehill. To me, all of those guys are basically the same person, right? Jimmy Garoppolo, Derek Carr, Kirk Cousins are all the same quarterback to me. They play for different teams. They've lived their own individual lives. It's the same person. Okay. So depending on the week, those are all 12, 13, 14, 15, 16.
I would say Derek Carr is better than Tua. And I don't like Derek Carr. But
does the
I don't hate the man. I just don't. I mean, the guy's got tattooed eyeliner. That just bothers me. That really upsets me. I think it's annoying to me. I mean, I don't know if he went through his little phase. I don't know what happened. It could have been that. What was that singer that had his eyes tattooed back in the day? Had the long hair.
You would know. Is it from?
Can't think of his name right now. No, this guy was. It wasn't that far back. I'm sure somebody will remember.
Well, you are the historian.
He sang a lot of. He sang a lot of devil style music when devil style music wasn't in like the end thing. But anyway, I just don't get. The tattooed eyeliner bothers me, but I think he's a better quarterback than Tua.
I agree with you, and I think if Carr can have a good season similar to Geno Smith, but he doesn't really like level out to where we see there's issues, I think we could see maybe Derek Carr re-emerging as a top 10 quarterback. That's if and only if. I know Quentin's staring at me, and JP is too. That's if and only if they can have consistency all season.
I agree.
All season.
So yeah, I agree. Marilyn Manson. Thank you.
Don't know who that is.
Thank you, Thiz.
Do you know who that is?
No.
Look him up. You'll see.
We've agreed. JP shook Noah's hand before the flood happened. So there's a lot of references he's going to make that we
JP got in the air Bethlehem's in that house.
There's a lot of guys that I wasn't sure after this. After 10, it's like Kyler Murray. I didn't know exactly. I was never going to put him in the top 10. Let's get that out of the way. But maybe he's like 12, 13-ish. Because I was like, well, my reasoning is he tore that ACL, right? And that's a big deal for Kyler Murray because his athleticism is such a big part of his game. Sort of ironic there. Because of his little size, he needs that speed and that ability to scramble to make those plays. So if he loses even a step, I worry that he's never going to be that quarterback that he was. And he wasn't an elite quarterback to begin with. So there are some guys that I really struggled with trying to figure out where they're going to go, which is why I stopped at 10. I would love to put Justin Fields high up on this list too. I think if Justin Fields can have a Lamar Jackson-esque increase in his throwing ability, I think Justin Fields can be better than Lamar Jackson. I do think Justin Fields is going to be an exciting player, and I'm happy that the Bears didn't trade him away.
I agree. And they got him another number one receiver. So
yeah.
I like what this said. He said we're all stars now in the dope show. I think Justin Fields is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. I think he's
exciting,
just
man.
He's very exciting, and I think he's been dealt a raw deal in a lot of ways. That's a terrible organization. They're one of the worst in the league. You got 5 really bad organizations, and they're probably number 3. Number 4. So it's tough. I kind of wish they would have traded him to a decent team. I just do or a decent organization, I should say. Yeah, they got him a number 1 wide receiver. What else have they done? It was this, but for you guys know that was a Marilyn Manson song. So anyway, I just feel like he's getting that Texans treatment, where your career is kind of wasted, and that's what I feel like is happening to him. So I hope that they actually do something with him.
I think they've made some good moves.
Oh,
the Bears have.
They had to.
You've got some good. You're building around him. I think trading away some of those pieces they have. I don't think that they ruined their team by trading away some of those defensive players. They've got some wide receivers recently. So if you believe in their head coach, and I don't have a reason not to. So I think it'll be interesting to see. Justin Fields will be an exciting player to watch. I know that the Chiefs are going to play the Bears over in Germany. So that'll be an exciting game to watch. I hope there's a chance that, the NFC North could be one of those divisions that isn't a runaway anymore, right? With the Packers trading away Aaron Rodgers, and the Lions are the Lions, so who knows if they continue to develop. And, well, the Vikings are the Vikings. So there's just a lot of history between those teams that they don't have a tendency to run away with the division. And you've got, the Vikings are going to be playing a number one schedule, right? So they're going to be facing all difficult teams. And they do not win 11 one-score games the next year. That's not happening.
I agree.
The Lions are going to have a more difficult schedule, and the Bears are going to have the easiest schedule in the division. So I don't think I'm comfortable saying that the Bears are going to win the division, but I don't think that they're going to be the bottom of the barrel team in the NFL anymore, especially in a conference that doesn't have elite quarterback play.
And I think what we see as well, that conference has risen a lot, and you don't see the Packers running away and the Vikings coming up. But I think what we're going to see, the Lions are maybe that team that can win division, but the Bears, I think, are just a season or two behind them. And when they get to that point, the Bears and Lions are kind of going to overtake things. I think it was pretty soon the point it's all going to implode on the teams like the Vikings and the Packers. It's all a mystery box with Aaron Rodgers. Will he go? Will he trade him? Will they keep him? Things like that. So those teams at the bottom are more on the up and up now than what they were in previous seasons. So,
okay, do you think I am missing any quarterback that deserves to be in the top 10? Is there anybody that you want to throw in there, or just give comments on any of the other quarterbacks in the league?
Let's hear what the fans have to say.
Yeah, let's hear
what do you guys have to say.
Yeah, outside of the Joe Burrow take, does anybody else have a significant problem with any of our lists here?
I have a question about Joe Shiesty. No, I'm playing around.
Oh, anybody got anything? Anybody think he's missed anybody?
Or I know you're typing.
We can talk about a couple of NFL news.
Yeah, let's do that really quick before we do our game.
Yeah, we
got 8 people on. We got some people that are going to play the game.
We've got the Commanders being sold, right? That's it's not official, but it's everything but official. So I hope there's a parade in Washington, D.C., because there should be. That can be their own parade, their own Super Bowl victory, getting one of the worst owner out of the NFL. Any thoughts on that?
I think it's a long time coming. As just said, Dan Snyder is out of here. He's gone. He is no longer here.
And he needed to go. I wouldn't have cared if – I don't care who would have bought that team as long as it wasn't him owning it.
Yeah, it's time. After all the news stories, they basically were like, yeah, this ain't it.
Yeah.
It's better for the NFL and their brand at the end of the day. They were able to deal it for so long, but they're at a point where we're tired, we're done. We need someone that can probably actually fix the stadium where we renovate it, and we see toilet waters falling into the stands. We see people are falling from the seats on the railings onto players. It's just crazy time. They need to fix that stadium up.
Did you see the picture of the rust that was on the bolts? Did anybody ever see the pictures of that? That was holding the stadium together? It was insane. I mean, the rust.
The stadium is disgusting.
Well, there was no bolt left. It was the rust when they cut through the bolt, and the bolt was like a 5/8-inch bolt. There was probably maybe an 1/8 of an inch that wasn't rusted in the center of the bolt, and those are holding up stands with tens, hundreds of thousands of pounds on them, and you're letting people sit on that. That you're a piece of.
It's a liability waiting to happen.
Man,
I mean, the stadium broke and fans fell on Hurts.
Yeah, yeah. It's insane to think that they even went that direction. But let's do something here. Let's play this game. Before we start,
we got? I've got one fun fact.
Let's spit it out.
So Magic Johnson is a partial owner of the Commanders now.
Oh, that is true.
He has championships in the NBA, the WNBA, and MLS and baseball, because he's a partial owner of all those other franchises. So he could potentially – he already has a ton of championships with other – wouldn't it be crazy if he could have – what's he missing? Hockey and football now.
He probably will get to that point where he takes over a hockey team. I wouldn't be surprised. And he has so much money, so much influence, so much reach. He can get that. And if the Commanders can figure it out and they get a Super Bowl, hey, that'll be very helpful for him.
Who are we talking about?
Magic Johnson.
Oh yeah,
He's
yeah.
one of the minority owners trying to buy the team.
yeah.
So because he's
I didn't hear
partial-
who everybody was. Who's everybody in this now?
I don't remember the guy that owns the 76ers.
Mm-hmm.
He's a
Owned?
DC resident. Yeah, that owns
Owned?
the main owner of the 76ers
Okay.
and Magic Johnson are the two that I saw. I don't know if there's anybody. I mean, there's probably other people, but it's like a bunch of minority owners that nobody knows. So
There would have to be a bunch of people. What's the buying? Is it like 7 billion?
6 billion,
Yeah,
I think.
yeah,
Six?
it's something,
Yeah.
and a crazy amount of money that it just is so hard.
Does
to
it come
think
with the
about.
piece of land that he owned?
It
that he,
should. It should because the
Okay.
team
Okay.
owns that property. So, and it also should come with the stadium, which is why that selling price was way more than like the Broncos, because it's a bigger market and you're getting more.
Okay.
Look what Philip said. Of course, Matt Johnson will get a dog. He just watched that Malcolm in the Middle. That was funny. I forgot about that. That's funny shit. Josh Harris is the majority.
That must have been the owner then.
Okay.
The
There you go.
76ers.
All right,
I
there's
knew it was
Owen.
the owner of the 76ers.
Okay, so we got to wait until the other two. I don't know who fell offline. Okay, I want to know who's online. Scott, are you still here? Will, are you still here? Chiefs Live, are you still here? Who's still here? I want to know who's still here. Let me know now, because I'm going to give you an email address. And I want you to email us if you want to jump on the show and do a battle. Whoever wants to do a battle, it's going to be 2 of you come on. We're going to battle it out with some questions, see who knows who. Scott, okay. Here we go, Scott. Write this, or just start typing chiefslive@gmail.com. I'm sorry, yeah. No, sorry, chiefsfocuslive@gmail.com. chiefsfocuslive@gmail.com. Who else wants to jump on and battle? Spit it out. Come on now. We got to have a battle on this show. It's fun. It's good times. Where's Will? What happened to Will?
Will must have went to bed.
Will, did you go to bed? Come on, man. You always
Probably
stay on
plus
for
the
the whole
Chiefs live
show.
went too. They went to bed probably.
Come on, man. Well, somebody else just popped back on. So for you, if you didn't listen, if you weren't listening, we're doing a knowledge battle, and we're going to bring 2 people on the show. So email us at chiefsfocuslive@gmail.com really quick so we can get you on the show. Let me see.
Well, I guess as we're trying to figure out people, what do you guys think about that video circulating of the Chiefs jumping the
Oh,
Bills?
here, let me just do this. I got to do it while we're waiting for these people to jump on because this is phenomenal stuff. It just gives me joy, and I need the joy. Here you go, guys. Here you go, guys.
According to Ian Rappaport, Pacers are trading back.
New England has traded 6. Kansas City is now on the clock.
Meanwhile, the Patriots just traded down. The Chiefs just traded up from 29.
Did anybody hear the F word?
Yeah. Someone slid that in there.
Yeah, somebody. I almost want to think it was McDermott, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
thought
there were
it
so
was.
many people in that room.
Okay, Will, if you want to do this battle with Scott, just send or email us at chiefsfocuslive@gmail.com. Scott hasn't emailed us yet. I don't know if he wants to do this or not. I mean, come on, Scott. You know you got football knowledge. So let's
Scott might
go.
have a bedtime too.
Well, he's there. He just said he was on. Oh, there's Scott. What's up, Scott? Okay. Let me bring Scott in. Who's going to battle him? Come on, Will.
Like
I know
a
you
battle
want to do
royale.
it. Let me get into my email real quick.
Oh, that's nice.
What's nice? What happened?
My computer unplugged, so I got to plug it back in.
You can't have that die in the middle of it.
No, that would be unfortunate.
It really would be.
Well, somehow my battery pack came unplugged. I'm a professional, I promise.
Keeps telling us that.
If I say it enough, I'm trying to speak it into existence.
Speak into existence.
Yeah.
That's how you do it. Oh,
you know.
I have to say
reply
that
Scott
moment
here,
was
really.
pretty funny to see
It
them
was.
deal with that.
It was.
And I would be surprised if the Chiefs jumped the team like the Bengals this year. That'd be perfect. At Kansas City at the draft, sitting there, and you see that the Chiefs have jumped the Bengals around the clock. They set the next best defensive player out there, and voila, or offensive tackle. Great. That'd be great. So that would be
That
awesome.
to me was a phenomenal thing. Okay, Scott, I just sent you an invite. So all you got to do is log on. Make sure your mic's going. Make sure your video's on. Anybody else going to send me a Will said I'm at work. Will,
I don't know if we have enough.
you can't take a 5-minute break. I
Don't be
understand.
coming after Will like that. Will's agreed
All
with
right.
me a lot, so Will's my boy.
Yeah,
So
Will's
I
a
don't
good
appreciate
dude.
you coming after him like that.
Who else we got? Who wants to battle Scott? I mean, I think Corey left.
I'll do it. I'll
You
battle
want to
Scott.
battle Scott?
I'll do it.
All right.
I'll do it. What's the prize?
Oh,
Your hat? No,
That
I
hurts a
don't want your hat.
we'll come up with something. We got something we'll figure out. But let's do this. So we got Scott, and we're gonna do Caleb. And who's gonna be the judge? Is it gonna be
JP, you can be the judge.
Oh man. All right.
Who's going to ask the questions?
Yeah.
JP? Okay.
Who's got to ask the questions and be the judge? Man, you're putting a lot on me.
You're a strong and independent woman. I believe in you.
Oh my God. Well,
We have faith in you, JP. You can
Yeah.
do it.
ridiculous.
For better or for worse. Mostly for worse.
Unbelievable. All right. Well.
What are we doing? 5 questions. First, get 5. Most.
Oh,
More five
Philip's got
questions?
his popcorn ready. Philip, you could have battled too, man. Why don't you jump in? We'll send you. Hey, we'll send it to you, bro. You just let us know if you want on. I'm just waiting for. We're just waiting for Scott to jump on. As soon as he jumps on.
I've got some. I don't want them to be too hard. So.
Send me the answer key. I would very much appreciate
Oh
it.
my God!
Wow, the
Wow.
teacher is asking to cheat on the test. Talk about
Unbelievable.
integrity.
Answer key would be nice.
I'm not. Hey, you're not. I'm not Andy Reid, or you're not.
Hey,
Patrick
I want to see that
Mahomes,
playbook that Andy Reid gives out to people that's not actually true. Can you do that? The illusion of I get something. Well, at least the draft is in 2 weeks from today. 2 weeks from today is the draft. So
Oh my God! It's gonna be good times. All right, let's get in here. I don't know what's going on, Scott. Tell me what's going on.
well, Scott can't join. Send it to Philip. It can be Philip versus I. Philip and I can do it. Send
I
it
just
to
want.
Philip.
Yeah, I want to know if Scott's able to get on.
He's having problems.
You having problems? What problems are you having? Maybe I can help you out with it really quick.
I can. I've got questions. If you want me to do that, you
Okay,
can be the
that can
judge
work.
as to who gets the questions correct.
That's fine.
in
Okay, I'm
terms
gonna
of who
send.
answers
I'm gonna send
first.
Philip the link really quick because
Yeah, send Philip. Philip, I can battle. If Scott can hop in, great. If not, we can get Scott on for next time. I think we've demoed a couple times. We can figure it out too.
Yeah. All right. Let me get back in
I'll
here.
just show Philip what's up. My draft partner. I'll just show him what's up. Oh, by the way, we will be probably haven't talked to you guys, but sometime next week we will be unveiling our top 100 NFL draft prospects that will be put out. So we'll be probably dedicating this entire show to that. Quentin, you'll be happy. Some of the players you'll talk about have made that list.
Yeah, that's because
JP? Some of those players probably are not in those lists, but they may get checked later. What you got to say, Quentin?
I was just gonna say, because I'm trying to find those diamonds in the rough. So-
Okay. Hey, there's some good players. There's some good players.
Let me answer this question to Corey really quick because he said not all problems can be solved by the little blue pill. Well, you know what? There's a pill out there to help you grow that hair back, and I know you need it.
Uh-oh. Did you
There's
send?
a pill. There's Rogaine. I'll promote Rogaine for you. We'll do whatever we can do to
You
help
and
you out.
Corey love to go back and forth.
It's
I
the
think the
fun we
news is
have.
just a podcast episode dedicated to you two. You guys can just debate football.
Yeah, you guys fight like an old married couple.
Yeah.
It's
Did
the
you
fun of having this show.
Did you send him the link?
I did. I sent
Okay,
it
Philip?
to Philip.
All right.
What
What are we doing? 5 questions? First of 5?
Yeah, 3 of 5. I guess. What
Okay.
do you think? Best 3 out of 5?
Or first, we're going to get 5 or something like that.
Yeah, we could do 3 out of 5.
Okay.
And if it's tied with 2-2 at the 5th question, I'll ask you a Royals question. We'll throw a
Okay.
mystery question in there.
Ooh,
Okay.
a Royals question.
What do you guys think about the Royals so far?
Their pitching core is impressive. If the way that Chris Bubik and Brad Keller have sort of turned their, it's early in the season, but have started to turn their game around is impressive. I heard a story that when the Royals were trying to hire their pitching coach, all the candidates, they gave a value. They said, hey, you go evaluate this guy. You go evaluate, Brady Singer. You go evaluate Daniel Lynch, and then come back to us and tell us what you think.
Okay.
So they were the guy they ended up hired. They gave him Bubik to look after, and his first response, he says, hey, why is he not throwing a slider? And there's been some drama in the Royals organization about him not throwing a slider because the previous management crew refused to let him throw a slider.
Okay.
So,
Well, that's interesting.
yeah, it's been impressive to see how they've turned around. Those two guys specifically. This pitching staff has been way better than I thought. The bats are hitting the ball hard, and the biggest thing is they've struggled to, get runs in with 2 outs. That's been frustrating. When you load the bases and you weren't able to score runs, that's frustrating. But I do think while the record doesn't reflect it, I do think that there are parts of this team that are playing well.
Okay.
And I think that those are things, if you continue to play like this, I do think the runs will come. Hell, we saw that last night.
11 runs, right?
You put up 10 runs. I mean, and only one of them came off a home run. So it's not like you got lucky with one ball. You were able to drive runs in multiple innings.
I have not watched much. What?
I just sent Philip a message to find out if he's able to get in or not.
Well, I will say this: the Royals have done really good. I did not watch a lot of baseball, thanks to Bally Sports and the blackouts. So I just hear my coverage and read Quentin's articles for my updates. So for all those who need to understand what happened to the Royals, read Quentin's stuff. Follow him on Twitter. So you can figure out all your Royals information. Because I will say this: when I was a kid, the Royals, the Chiefs, and the soccer team were terrible, and now we're at that point where they're not bad anymore, or semi not bad. So we're in a good spot in Kansas. We're in a good spot in Kansas City sports for the most part. So
Says his laptop is acting up a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, if anybody else there has the cojones to come on and battle Caleb, let us know.
We may have to call a rain check if this isn't going to work.
Yeah,
we're gonna
we might have to
just
get
do it next
you
time.
logged.
How about we
in
do
for
this next Thursday? Next Thursday we'll have it. We'll have it.
Yeah, we could
Halfway
do
through
that.
the show, we can do it next Thursday. Philip, you come on. Will come on if you can, and Scott come on next Thursday. We'll do it.
Yeah,
Take half the show. We'll dedicate to that. Let's do that.
Let's definitely do that. All right, guys. Well, since we can't get this going tonight, I apologize, but we will definitely get it going by next week, and maybe we'll predetermine who's going to battle, and we'll do that once a week, and we'll do predetermined battles. Oh, wait, hold up. There's the man.
Damn, man, this laptop, bro. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right, man.
That's
Hey,
all right, Philip.
make
That's
sure
all
you
right.
don't have the show running on
All
the
I'm put
other.
this on mute, man. This freaking phone. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Okay.
All right. First of
Let's
5
go.
questions, Philip. Where I can get what? How many questions do you have to get right?
3 out of 5.
Yeah,
Okay.
so first to 3. And if you're tied 2-2,
Hold
And
on, let
I'm
me
gonna
put my
throw-
timer on too while you guys are going. 'cause
So
you know
are-
you
Throw
guys-
this question at you.
Are you going to read the question? We just whoever yells the answer out first gets it.
Yeah. JP will
Okay.
JP will listen to the answer.
All right.
JP will keep track of the score. I've got the questions. So we're focusing Chiefs questions. Okay, just a little bit of Chiefs history here.
My phone is
Focus
down. No
on-
stat use.
Yeah, no
Same
stat
here.
use.
Mhm.
I've got just some. These are just some of the best in Chiefs history. Try to keep it fair. So let's just start off with the most career rushing yards in Kansas City Chiefs history.
That's you got. Hold on.
13,542.
No, the player.
Oh, the player, Priest Holmes.
Mm. Dang.
Uh-oh.
It's gonna be a long night. It's
Uh-oh.
gonna be a long night. It's not Larry?
Larry Johnson. I'm just throwing one out there.
No, it is. Yeah, it's Jamal Charles is
Yeah.
the leading.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to another one.
So wait a
We've
minute,
got-
neither one of you guys got that one, right? So
No.
0-0.
It's a
Okay.
long
We've
night.
got the most career receptions in Kansas City Chiefs history.
Timer
Tyreek Hill?
started.
Travis Kelce.
It is Tony Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Goodness.
Wow.
This one
Holy
struggling.
crap.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, where did the team play before they moved to Kansas City?
Dallas,
Dallas.
Texas.
They were in Dallas. I think Caleb got that one correct.
Yep.
So
What'd you say, Philip?
I said Dallas as well.
You
Dallas,
did.
Yeah, we both-
So that's a what do you want to call that, a tie?
you're the one keeping score. I'm just calling the questions.
Yeah. I guess I'll call.
You know,
Let's see. Hold on.
Vanna White isn't in charge of keeping the numbers. Okay, she's just in charge of She's just in charge of putting everything on the board so people can see what's going on. That's it.
We'll do a tie, JP. We'll do 1-1. That's fine.
All right.
There we go.
Who has the most career passing yards?
Oh, that's easy. Okay, well, hopefully I get
Mm,
Mahomes.
Lynn Dawson, but
Len Dawson.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, we got to
didn't-
think of how
I
long
thought
he
Mahomes
played.
outbeat him.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm thinking of touchdowns in a season. Oh, that's probably what I'm thinking of. Okay.
So total passing yards, you're saying?
Mm.
Okay.
Lynn Dawson, he says the answer.
Yeah, I'm on the pro football facts. So,
Okay.
Okay. So I used 2 more.
who did the Chiefs beat in their first Super Bowl win?
The Vikings.
Right.
The Vikings. That's 3, isn't it, JP?
That's 2. Remember the one was a tie.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. I've got a couple more we could throw at. I just don't want to throw really niche ones at you. So
Sometimes you have to throw those underhand pitches so I can just get that home run swing.
that's true.
I got one for you if you want it.
Yeah, if you want to. I mean, I've got a couple.
Who was the first round draft pick in the 2015 draft for the Chiefs?
Marcus Peters, my guy.
You got that one right.
Okay, good, Philip. All right, we're tied up.
I
I can't think that far back.
can't.
Memories I have from that time period. Nothing
Are
but
we
pain.
at 4-4?
Yep.
Or are we at 2-2?
No. We're at 3-3.
3-3.
All right. Who did the Chiefs face in the 27-24 double overtime loss?
Oh God.
Hold on, is there a year?
In 1971,
1971.
Miami Dolphins.
it was the Miami
Oh,
Dolphins.
Yep. He's
Phil-
right.
Every-
My mama was at that game.
Mm.
I can't imagine watching a double overtime game
Can I do it?
on TV or at the game, because that game was cold too, right?
Oh, yeah.
It was
it's
like
the
6
playoffs.
hours long or something.
Yeah,
It was insane.
I can't imagine playing in that game. I can't imagine working at that game as like the PA guy or a news. I can't imagine being any part of that game as a fan.
Mhm.
I don't know what I would have
Christmas
done.
Day, man.
That's
Mhm.
insane. And
Yeah.
being at that game or covering that game in any fashion, that is crazy.
Yep.
JP would have fell asleep after the first overtime.
All right, next question. Phillips winning 4-3.
I'm gonna get Corey on this show.
We'll get him on. We'll have to get him on next Thursday for the battle.
Yeah.
What's the next question, Philip? Quentin. Ugh,
Wow.
tired. I'm tired. Ugh.
So what do we got? One more? We got one more to.
Oh.
This is a.
Philip
like,
needs to get
if
one
somebody
more
wins
right
this-
to win. I need 2 more.
Oh, okay.
Who was the first chief elected to the Pro Football Hall of Fame? It is not a player.
Hank Stram.
It is not Hank Stram.
Oh, I mean, hold on.
Not-
What's his
not
name?
player.
Hunt's dad.
Yeah, Lamar Hunt. Yeah, I'll
Okay.
give it to you.
I
I'll
was
give-
thinking same thinking wrongly, but
Okay.
Lamar, Hunt's dad.
Good one.
On
It's close
Jeopardy,
enough.
you would. Hey, on Jeopardy, you would have lost.
Okay, I'm tied up 4-4. I'm going for the win. I'm tied up 4-4. I'm
You would
going
have
for the
said,
win.
who is Lamar's dad? I mean,
yeah, there you go. I also wouldn't have. We are also aren't asking you to ask it in a form of a question, so we're not going exactly by Jeopardy rules here.
right.
All right, last
Okay.
one.
Last
Yeah,
one is
this
this.
is
We're
Wednesday.
tied now.
Mm-hmm.
We're
Okay,
tied
we're gonna
still.
go with the
We got one
Royals
more to go.
question. Are you ready for this?
All right.
Who is the losingest manager in Royals history?
Ned Yost.
Ned Yost.
Okay, that was a
Ned
guess.
Yost
Oh.
is
That
the
was
losingest
the
manager
reason.
in Royals history.
That was a guess. I'm gonna be honest. I did not watch Royals baseball till 2013.
He still got a World Series championship,
That's
though.
Still
true.
got and 2
That is true.
appearances.
That is
It's
Two
true.
appearances. That's crazy to think about.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Thinking about that, going back, God, they've had some really bad decades. It wasn't like
He
Yeah,
holds
bad
the
decades.
record. This is how bad the Royals / good the Royals were. Yost holds the Royals record for all-time wins and all-time losses. He was 746 wins, 839 losses.
Mm.
wow.
Ooh.
So he's like the Brett Favre, of baseball with touchdowns and interceptions. Because that's basically where Brett Favre was. I think he had more interceptions than he did touchdowns at one point.
Oh, I was watching this video. The Packers before we're in the show. I'll leave with this. I was watching a video of the Packers playoff wins from 1997 to basically current day, and Brett Favre. And those losses had so many interceptions. One
Oh, it was
game he
terrible.
threw 3 pick sixes.
Yeah.
And threw 6 picks. So we're
Yeah,
not here or there. Philip, thanks for coming on, man.
yeah man.
We'll go
Appreciate it,
again.
bro.
Hey, next week our draft stuff we're gonna be talking you, Keen, and I. So get ready for that. So
Yeah, I'm
All
looking
right,
forward to it.
guys. We appreciate you jumping on, Philip. We appreciate everybody for jumping on. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we will see you guys on Tuesday.
Next week, yeah. You could also say Brett Favre was picking off those tax dollars allegedly. So,
allegedly.
Oh, allegedly.
Allegedly.
I mean,
Don't get sued.
it's all allegedly, people. All right.
peace out.
Peace out, everybody.